Fellow citizens, on March the 15th, 2019, St. Kitts and Nevis will join the international community in celebrating World Consumer Rights Day. And as the Minister with responsibility for consumer affairs, I take this opportunity to wish all consumers of the Federation a happy World Consumer Rights Day. Former United States President John F. Kennedy was the first world leader to highlight consumer rights issues on the 15th of March 1962. And to commemorate this date, Consumers International CI introduced World Consumer Rights Day on March 15, 1983, which has been celebrated annually ever since. From 1962 to present day, there has been overwhelming support and desire to safeguard the interests of consumers, hereby providing the foundation for the creation of consumer protection agencies or consumer advocacy groups in almost every country worldwide. As we celebrate World Consumer Rights Day, under the theme, Trusted Smart Products, it is an opportunity for us as consumers, businesses, and the government to impart greater emphasis on the need for the protection of consumer rights in this digital era. This modern consumer environment includes the use of e-purchasing and e-commerce, which allows for ease in the provision and access to goods and services. We enjoy the flexibility of buying online and the access to monetary resources. We have reaped the benefits associated with rapid technological advances in our appliances, vehicles, and consumers. These developments are responsible for expanding our interactions in ways that would have been unimaginable years ago, hereby causing the idea of defined geographical market space to become somewhat non-existent as more transactions are taking place online. Online shopping and the use of online services have become increasingly prevalent due to the convenience and often low prices offered by online shopping sites. There are numerous advantages and conveniences provided by online service providers. However, there are certain disadvantages that have been highlighted, which include the receipt of inaccurate or deficient goods and services provided to consumers. In the event a deficiency in goods and related services arises, the issue of jurisdiction for the purposes of referring and resolving disputes and/or complaints is a crucial issue to be addressed on behalf of consumers using online services. The first and most important lesson in regard to the digital security is that there is no safeguard that can always keep a customer safe from the predatory cyber criminals. Notwithstanding the use of protections such as encryption, virus protection, and passwords, the reality is that cyber criminals continue to develop new methods to commit fraud. Consumers must remain proactive and give attention to what is referred to as digital hygiene in efforts to protect their online security through the use of established main street channels or large entities that tend to be responsive to consumer concerns and consumer complaints. This rule also applies to the smart devices which we may choose to use. using channels that one can trust, such as laptops, iPhones, and recently updated devices or smart speakers made by major players such as Amazon and Google, can go a long way in helping to keep consumers secure with functional devices. In making decisions to purchase a smart device, consumers should not make such a purchase from no-name third-party manufacturers who may not issue security patches for these devices. The risks may not be limited to that of security, but may surface as reduced functionality of the device. For example, cheaply produced devices for the high-tech user can mean serious problems if a smart device in their network were to fail. Based upon the most recent sector review undertaken in 2016 by Ectel, St. Kitts and Nevis mobile broadband subscription totaled some 43,000 or 77% penetration rate, and approximately 23,000 fixed line subscriptions, equating to some 40% penetration rate. This data solidifies the fact that there is a large number of persons within the Federation who have access to the online shopping community and may engage in e-commerce. These online shoppers are also exposed to internet fraud and identity theft. Realizing this fact, there is the need for appropriate laws and regulations to be drafted and enforced in order to protect citizens who make use of e-commerce daily, in an effort to create a fairer and safer online shopping experience. Within the territories of CARICOM and the OECS, there continues to be positive strides being made towards the adoption of harmonized consumer protection legislation across all member states. In addition to this, assistance was solicited from Impact Justice, a national innovation research center, to assist in the drafting of regulations which will support and operationalize this new harmonized legislation. At present, there are only 2 CARICOM member states that have adopted the newly drafted CARICOM Consumer Protection Bill. However, the government of St. Kitts and Nevis remains committed to being in the vanguard of modernizing and strengthening the protection of the rights of consumers. And so, in keeping with the requirements under the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas, the government of St. Kitts and Nevis will continue the necessary groundwork to facilitate the adoption of the said legislation here in the Federation. St. Kitts and Nevis has been on a positive trajectory towards ensuring that the rights of consumers transacting business online are safeguarded by enacting critical pieces of legislation, which include, but is not limited to, 1. The Electronic Crimes Act of 2009, 2. The Electronic Transactions Act of 2011, and 3. The Data Protection Act of 2018. Although these pieces of legislation may offer some protection to consumers, the issues which persons face continue to evolve, requiring the need for new or amendments to existing legislation. The efforts of the government to strengthen the legislative and regulatory framework in regard to this issue is by no means an attempt to stifle businesses from being profitable. These changes will provide the facilitating environment for business development and expansion, while allowing for a fair, transparent, mutually beneficial relationship between service providers and consumers. In addition to a robust legislative and regulatory framework, The protection of consumers must also be supported by lobbying and advocacy. At the same time, businesses must be cognizant of their role in protecting the welfare of consumers and offer quality products which are well supported by manufacturers to avoid security risks. I wish to conclude this statement by appealing to you, the consumer, to embrace your responsibility in bringing about the needed improvements as to how we do business in St. Kitts and Nevis. May God bless the Consumer Rights Week of activities, and may we achieve our goal of a more harmonious relationship and partnership between the consumers and suppliers in our beloved Federation and across the globe. Thank you for listening.